What is going on, guys? We are going to do a Dead Cells video. I've put up a few at this point on this channel. My first one was my very first clear, which I did on stream. I figured for the other boss cell runs, which I honestly never expected to do in a million years, I posted them without streaming. I did it off stream, and if I happened to make it far enough to where I thought I would maybe do the run, I would record it. And 9 times out of 10, I would actually lose, which I guess is how I'm going to introduce this, because Dead Cells, well, keep in mind the first portion of that title, because you are going to be dead a lot. That is just the nature of this game. So if that's not something you're into, if you're not really up for challenge, or if you just simply want to, keep your sanity, this is just something I wouldn't suggest. But if you're up, if you can get past all that, if you tell yourself, this is the kind of thing I want to do, and I'm okay with it, then I definitely recommend this. So I'm going to try to not rant too much on this aspect, because I'm going to turn this into a sort of an attempt to teach this game. So I have 3 files. Well, one of these files actually isn't mine. This third one is not mine. This is my second file. You can see it's clearly where I've done the most. I have the general upgrades. I have all the runes that you get to help you get movement and other things in the game, which I'll explain. My cat's currently trying to sit in my lap, so hopefully he figures his shit out soon. I have 4 cells. I have not beaten 4-cell mode yet. That will come eventually, but again, we're getting ahead of ourselves here. So this is going to be for I thought about this ever since somebody in the group, a member in particular, if you're watching this, Cody, if you're watching this, let this be a teaching tool, because I'm going to start a new file for the hell of it, which I may or may not keep up with and or just keep making videos about, because, well, 1, it'll give me an excuse to do so, and 2, by the time everything's all said and done, I'll probably have something a little better suited for the harder difficulties. But again, we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves. So we're starting a new run, right? We're going to open this thing. It's nice that in between, we're going to kind of skip this stuff. There's no reason to see it. So the cool thing about this game is when you're in these in-between areas, whether it be shops or anything of the sort, it does pause your timer, which is nice. You basically have to make 2 decisions right off the get-go. This game is all about micromanaging little mini decisions and deciding what you're going to do. You should have 1 clear goal per run. Do you want to beat it, or do you want to just farm certain items? And the other thing, too, is there is this concept called time doors. And if you get to the time doors, you get free cells, which is free currency, and you get a free scroll, which is an upgrade for one of your 3 stats that you see in the bottom left, your brutality, tactics, or survival. We're going to take the bow and just get this started as we're trying to explain this. So, you want to decide right off the bat if you want to be killing things for the sake of potentially getting drops and or cells, or if you want to go as quickly as possible, mostly avoid the enemies. That was a bad hit to take. Mostly avoiding the enemies and trying to get the time door. We're going to do this for speed, just so you can, chances are anyone that starts this right away is going to try to kill everything as quickly as possible. And I don't blame them, you're just starting, you're just learning, so why not? But I also do a lot of silly things from time to time, like I just did there. So the whole sake of doing this as quickly as possible, that might not actually be something I'm able to prove in this video. But sometimes you just gotta roll with it. Like that. Like this is probably a really shitty start, so you see, I'm not even gonna, at this point, I am not going to try for the time door, I don't think. Although in this particular area, since it's by a chest, the timer is paused in the bottom right, so as long as I was able to keep them in that general area, I actually had all the time in the world to get rid of them. I can't go this way because I don't have a rune for it. You need a rune in order to make that moss on the ground grow, and then you can go somewhere else. So when you start, it's a rough start because there are areas that you feel like you can get to and definitely cannot. I actually just went right back where I was coming from, so that wasn't a good example also of trying to go quicker into place. So we picked up a trap. Of the 3 stats, I will say right now, I favor tactics. It gets you the least HP overall, but I do feel like this game is set up in such a way where they reward tactics builds the most. They seem to be the strongest, the most preferred. Every now and then you can get secret areas like this. A lot of them are just for whatever lore. Okay, that kind of works. Most of them are for whatever lore the game is trying to give. I don't play this game for story. I don't think anyone does. But some of the areas have a free weapon or a free mod. Sometimes scrolls will unfortunately be locked behind doors. I don't have enough to pay to win here, so unfortunately I think that means we're going to miss a scroll for this area. One thing you want to really have in mind is that each area you visit in this game, it has a certain amount of scrolls, plus whatever amount of scrolls you get from a potential timed door. A lot of this might be gibberish, but I'm explaining as I go. So, we're past the beginning area. Usually it has 2 scrolls. I was only able to get 1 because the other one was locked behind the time, or not the time, the pay-to-win door. So with that, I just kind of left. I did get 1 trap out of it. In the beginning, you have very little control over your runs. It's like a typical roguelike where you pray to RNGesus and hope you get good items. As you progress through the game, you can unlock other items. You get blueprints for them. You bring them to this guy here. Yeah. We don't care about your dialogue. You go to this guy here. We got 10 cells, so we have enough for the first health flask, so that's good for, surviving and refilling your health and whatnot. We have another 5, so we'll just go ahead and get gold reserves off the bat, use all our stuff. General, you want to stick to first, right? Because there's no drawback to getting them, and that's literally all we have access to here currently, so prioritize those. As you play, you will get weapons, traps, shields, so on and so forth. There's also these things, mutations. You will get these, and you gotta pick one. You get up to 3. For the sake of this, we're gonna increase their survivability, get 30% HP, dead inside. Especially if you're not too confident with your abilities, extra HP is always nice. Either that, or pick, it's abbreviated YOLO. I'm not gonna try to say what the actual name of it is. It's the heart mutation. You take that because it's essentially the equivalent to a Phoenix down in Final Fantasy. If you die, you come back with a little bit of health. You get a few invincibility frames because you get like a shield around you. And basically it's a second chance at life. And, it's clearly something I'm going to need very soon because I just ran into a spike with dumb shit. So, time door, I only had a second left to get to it because you have 2 minutes to get that first time door. The deal with the time door is there's a certain amount of time if you go on the main path that you get for each time door. The first one is 2 minutes, so it's the hardest one by far. But the first area is very simple. If you run into areas where you see the moss, don't go that way because it's not the quickest way to go about it. If you get the time doors, I honestly prefer time doors to fighting the majority of the time. The reason being is that it gives you guaranteed cells. Like, if you kill people, they may drop a cell, they may not drop a cell. And 9 times out of 10, if I get a time door versus whatever cells I get from running around killing people, you're going to get more doing it that way. It's just quicker to do. It farms. It's more efficient farming. And especially in your first few initial runs, you want to add to your item pool as quickly as possible. So that's that. I like to keep people at range. It goes with my trap strategy. Here we have a Sinnoh Slicer. It casts, not casts, but it adds a bleeding effect. You can see it here. Oh crap. Anytime you see those exclamation points, it means get the fuck out of the way. So your dodge button is your best friend. It's kind of like Dark Souls in that sense. Everybody telegraphs the rules very clearly. And, it's just a matter of what they're going to do. But once you see the exclamation point, you pretty much know you dodge or else you're going to get it. So, the first drop for this run, apparently, is Spartan Sandals. It's not a great weapon, but we got the blueprint. There is no consequence for bringing the blueprint to the guy. But that doesn't mean we need to unlock it. I'm going backwards for a minute because I forgot about something here. I just ran straight into the spikes like a dumb shit. Sometimes when I play this, I really do dumb shit. And by sometimes, I mean a lot of times. But there's an assassin dagger over there. If you're going brutality or just want a melee option that isn't the rusty sword, that's highly recommended. You get crits on it from hitting people from behind. So it's kind of nice to have. Up here, you can find the explosive crossbow. It's a good weapon, but we don't have the tools to get it yet, so that's for another time. When you're building a character, you want to try to stick mostly to one stat. In our case, it's going to be tactics. Some of these scrolls do not give you options for all three. So, if I don't get an option for all three, I'm going to go with whichever option gets me the most health. When you level up to a far enough point, you will stop getting health bonuses, but you will still get the attack bonuses. So you won't get any extra health for your scroll bonus. That's rather generous. You won't get any extra health, but you will get you won't get any extra health, but you will still get the attack bonus, so to make whatever weapons that scale with purple stronger. Chuck that fire grenade at him real quick. There's supposed to be 2 scrolls in here. I think we got both. No, we got 2 scrolls. We got the time door scroll and the regular scroll. So we're not going to get this because I don't want the video to be over that quickly. Because these are cursed chests. You take a chance with these. You get stuff from them. They give you a cursed item. They give you a free scroll. And they also give you money. So basically, you take the scroll, you probably sell the item because you don't want a cursed item. It makes you take 20% more damage. And you take the money. But you get a curse put on you. You have to kill 10 enemies, and if they kill you, if they hit you once, you die. That's the end of your run right there, no matter what you do. So, this is the first thing you have to do to get the first rune in the game. You're kind of forced to do it because you can only tickle this moss, which does nothing. So, you can only tickle it. We're going to take a potion. Fuck it. This is the first rune you get. It enables you to make vines, beanstalks, whatever out of these so you can actually move further. This is an elite. An elite version of an enemy, of course, is a stronger version. You've probably done this already if you've done a few runs, which it, from what I remember from your post, it did look like you did a few. If this is, of course, for somebody else looking at it that is not Cody, you know, ignore that. But, so that's your first rune. That gets you some movement in the area. So, permanent rune, you never lose this ever. Runes just help you get different places in the game. So, you can cause climbing vines to grow. So, we're just going to go over here, use that, press the button for it, and you're good. In a typical run, you have potion usage, you have 2 items you can use. You can switch the controls if you want, even though it tells you what the controls are in the bottom left. You have a map in the bottom right. You have your money and your cells right to left, the bottom left of where the map is. Your timer for the run is on the top right of that. Your health bar is in the bottom left, right to the right of your 241. If you see those numbers, that's the number of scrolls we have for that particular stat. So 4 being traps, which is what we're focusing on for this run. We have 4 of those already, 2 brutality, and 1 survival. Yeah, these are pretty basic weapons. I'm skipping a lot of stuff because at this point I want to make sure I get the time door in the second area of the game. Or excuse me, the third area. This is technically the second area. Alright, so I have another trap. I have a decision to make here. I'm going to replace the current one I have because it's a better version. But I am going to keep this fire grenade because it has damage resistance. I actually got pretty damn lucky because any gold or colorless items, colorless you generally don't want. Those are those things from cursed chests that you're going to sell off anyway. But gold will usually scale with whatever stat you're putting up at the time. Which means if it was primarily a brutality skill, for example, it will now scale towards tactics. So I threw that back there to distract them, but they kind of just teleport around a lot. Actually, it kind of worked. Nope, he's still there. Alright, so we're going to fuck these guys up real quick. There they go. There is a scroll I'm missing here, but honestly, I'm not going to go for it because, damn it, I want to make sure I get the time door in the next area. So I'm kind of rushing a bit. Never hesitate to use your potion if you're about to die, because there's no reason not to, really. If you use your potion, as opposed to not use your potion, you live, which, you know, something we prefer doing. Alright, so I'll get to choose a second mutator at this point. Since we're going traps, we're going to go, well, the mutation you always take if you get traps, which is efficiency. Now, my grenade is not a trap, but it gives me damage resistance, which means I'm going to live longer, so that's the decision behind that. You use potions all the time because in your standard difficulty, you get one of these between each area. It refills your health and whatever charges you have in your health flask. Health flask is probably the thing you want to prioritize first, because the more health flasks you have, the more survivability you have in general, because if you take shitty hits, you can heal them up. Alright, so I'll put down coffee I have here. Alright, so we have less than a minute to get to the time door. So we're going to do a little more of this. Rolling is your best friend. It's basically your form of movement. Or at least mine anyway. Probably a lot of people that are trying to do any sort of speed run and or get to time doors. You can roll through doors, but, you know, you do have a prompt to open them. Honestly, it's quicker doing it that way. I'm glad that was right there because otherwise I had a chance not getting it. So we got another time door. Time door means we're going to grab this stuff real quick. It's free money, free scroll, free cells. There's no reason to not go for these. I can't stress it anymore. Time doors are great. At the same time, if you don't get them, don't stress yourself out too much over it. Especially if you're just starting. It's something you got to get used to. But because these time doors are a thing, the game does basically encourage you. Whether you're good at it or not. And I tend to be sloppy, but I'm good enough to be able to get the time doors. So those guys are annoying. You want to make them a priority because they tend to home in with their missiles. Their fire beams or whatever you want to call them. They're a bitch. So, yeah. Definitely make them a priority because they can get pretty annoying. We're killing a little more here because the further you go, the easier it is to get to the timed rooms. You get more time. I think the next one you technically don't have to get to until 15 minutes. So we're taking a little bit more time to explore this area and to get any potential blueprints that they have to drop for us. And actually, I don't know, I really only want to target the archers, because I know the archers drop a very helpful trap called the double cross-o-matic. It's one of my favorite traps in the game, especially when you're starting out. They pretty much get outclassed entirely by these things called heavy turrets, which are slower but stronger. But we don't have that yet, and we're probably not going to get it for a while. So, if you're going trap, definitely want the cross-o-matics. You want to double them up, and or use a Sinnoh Slicer with it. That's what I do personally. It's going to vary from person to person, depending on what you like to do. But that's just my personal preference. We got a balanced blade here. That's going to replace the rusty sword because, well, it's a rusty sword, so fuck it. We're going to go through here, kill this guy. Great. I'm going to go for another archer. I'm just going to... I'll probably kill the Inquisitors because, again, they have their attacks that home in on you. I don't want any of that. But I'll try to skip, like, pretty much everything else because I really don't have a reason to kill them. I don't really have a target goal for this whole introductory video and, like, tutorial of sorts, but I'm kind of all over the place. If there's anything anybody wants me to explain or attempt to, or anything of the sort. Infantry bow. Okay. Okay. Was that from the archer? I was killing the archers. I guess they dropped that in addition to, oops. I guess they dropped the infantry bow in addition to the cross-o-matic. Or do they not drop the cross-o-matic? No, I'm wrong. I think the zombies dropped the cross-o-matic. And the archer guys dropped the infantry bow. Anyway, it's something I wanted. So, it scales with, some weapons are dual scaling. Now, what I mean by scaling is you can see the items in the bottom, at the bottom of the screen, bottom left. If it's red, it scales with brutality. If it's purple, it scales with tactics. If it's green, it scales with survival. And if it's gold, you happen to get a gold drop like a lucky person. I say like a lucky person, but they become more and more common as you play. But if you do happen to get one, it will scale with whatever your majority stat is. And plus, if there's ever any question about it, when you go to get any scroll, it will show a up icon above the item to show that getting that scroll will increase the damage of it. So this is a shop. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's a shop. Is this that much better than what I have? Not really, so I'm not going to waste any money here. Grenades are a decent route because grenades, they give you survivability. They don't do the most damage, but they usually have mods that will give you damage resistance. If you're stacking damage resistance in a game, like the fire grenade has minus 25% damage received. From what I read on Reddit, which may or may not be true, it supposedly it caps out at 75%. Anything past that is kind of like overkill. So I would suggest getting to as close to that as possible. But it's all going to depend on how you play. Sometimes your scrolls won't be in a tube or a glass case or whatever the hell you want to call it. Sometimes they won't be in that, and there will be an enemy on the map with a star above their head. Most of the time I miss this, but that's how it works. And if you kill them, you get the scroll from them. So there's that. Alright, at this point we're at 11 minutes. So to be able to get the next time door, I am going to probably not search for all the scrolls. I might not. I don't know. I'm kind of indecisive right now. I'm going to go towards the end. I'm going to rush towards it. Alright, good. We got another scroll. I actually lost count of how many we got here. Because in this area there are 3 scrolls. If you get the time door, that makes it 4 scrolls. As you can see, we were going hardcore on purple. Well, that answers my question, because I see another scroll down there. And at this point, I know I've gotten... I didn't know if it was 3 or 4 total. But now that I see this, let's get that HP. Since we can't get purple, you go with the one with the most HP. So, survivability gets you the biggest bonus right from the get-go. Gets you 60% HP. So that's definitely going to help us. We haven't used the potion yet. That's good. I've gone to the end here. Map layout, it's going to come with time. With it being a roguelike, every time you play it's going to be different. Sometimes you get a more straightforward path than others. This time around, the game decided to not go very straightforward, so now I'm going to have to go these extra areas anyway that I kind of didn't want to go to for the sake of finding the way out. Okay, so you see, at this point, I think we actually have more scrolls than you usually get in the area. I'm gonna be honest, like, I don't understand sometimes how these scrolls work. Sometimes I feel I get more than you're supposed to get in the area. I think maybe if you kill an enemy that has a star above their head, that's an extra scroll for the area. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not really... I haven't confirmed that one way or the other, if it legitimately gives you an extra one, or it appears with that enemy instead of in a glass case. So we're back here again. You visit here in between each and every level that you go through, or biome as the game calls it. Let's get health flask too, because we have enough for it. So at this point we can now buy, or we did buy I should say, we can use our potion twice. I'm going to start going towards bows, because I like bows. So, I like to keep my people at range. It goes with tracks. It goes with tactics. I can talk, I swear. So, we only have so many mutations unlocked. They're decent starter ones. With this, I'll probably go ammo, because why not? I have a bow, which is literally the only point of me doing that. But, whatever. So, let's go to the boss. You can easily take a death if you make it this far, especially if you're starting. So we'll kind of go over real quick on how to kill this boss. I'm going to do the whole run. I was thinking about doing the video up until here, but fuck it, we'll just see what the first run takes us. So, we toss down a trap, and we toss our fire grenade at him right away. Even after you burn him, he's going to keep burning for a while, take damage over time. So, other than that, we're just going to make him come to us, keep him at range with the bow. If you have a melee weapon, you get a little more risky, because you want to dodge. Right? Balance blade. Get a few hits in with the melee. This is if you're feeling risky. Watch out for the exclamation point. That's when you want to dodge. The problem with doing that is eventually he gets the red circle around him. And if you hit that, you do take damage. And ideally, we don't want to take damage if we can help it. So we're just going to keep doing this until he dies. At about 50% health, he is going to start, I'd say about like a fourth in, a little over that. He, damn it, see, now we took hits. Alright, I was trying to perfect it, but it's not going to happen clearly. So, alright, so yeah, we're at the 50% mark. He's actually above 50%. He's actually charging early. But if you're keeping your distance, you're going to get him in this loop where this is all he can basically do. He'll toss that fire, and then he's going to do that and charge at you. You just roll, go to the other side, repeat the process. All you need to do. I just shot there instead of rolling, don't do that. Do as I say, not as I do. Alright, so jump the thing. I didn't do that because I'm stupid. You know, sometimes reflexes aren't there, or I just suck. You know, one or the other, probably both. So roll out of the way, hit him some more. Sometimes we get greedy, that's why we take hits, but especially as you move on in difficulty, you definitely don't want to do things like that. I just know with it being no cell, I can take some risks and take some hits. But one could also make the argument, bad habits, don't do it. So just know, it's not necessarily something you should do. Roll out of the way. We called that one a little close, but he had a lot of distance to travel, so I wasn't really too worried about it. You keep tossing out your traps because eventually they're going to destroy them, and then they won't be there anymore. So when they come off a cooldown, you might as well refresh it with a new trap. That was really bad, actually. So this is going so badly, in fact, that I should probably use a potion. But I'm not going to. I'm stubborn. If the video ends here, so be it. I don't think it will, though. It's been a while since I've actually died to the first boss fight again. Make no mistake, it's very easy to. It's just, you gotta know what you're doing. It's like with anything. You gotta learn it. It's kind of what this is for. Okay, that was cutting it a little close, but that's fine. So now he's dead. He'll drop something. The bosses always drop something the first time you fight him. What do we got? Heavy crossbow. That's something I'm probably not going to unlock. So we got a gold item and a rune. I forgot he gives you a rune. So this lets you do what again? Oh, Challenger's rune. Okay, that's like... Alright, so that's for an entirely different mode that has like nothing to do with what I'm trying to do. Anyway, I think I'm going to replace this bow or my blade. I could replace the blade. I'm going to replace the blade. Yeah, replace the blade. Fuck it. This way, no matter what we do, we're keeping them at range. So, not too bad. I'm going to keep this. We're going to go as long as we can go for this. First run, new file. We'll take it as far as we can go. Maybe this will be a tour of the whole game. I doubt it, though. Alright, so in between bosses, you get to this guy, Blacksmith, or a Collector, whatever. I confuse these people's names. Anyway, you get to the Legendary Forge. If you build this up, you can get items of higher quality more often. There's a time door in here for this first boss area. I missed it by a minute and 45 seconds, and in fact, I think I'm also going to miss the next time door because I took so long on that boss that it's just the nature of the beast. That's what's going to happen. So that kind of sucks, but I'm not going to get too down about it. It is what it is, especially on a fresh file. Not too many different options I have here. I'm in part doing it to myself because I'm reducing my damage. I could double up on traps instead of taking the damage resistance, but I figured the damage resistance will keep me alive longer. So, I don't have as many tools to play with, and honestly, your starting item pool has not all bad items, but definitely some shit items that I would not put in my personal pool. But you're kind of stuck. Oh, 1 second left. What's up? 1 fucking second left. Can't make that up. Shit's recorded. But, and I'm trying to explain stuff. Anywho, enough of patting yourself in the back, because just as quickly as you'll do that, the game will just slap you in the face and be like, hey, you thought you were good, didn't you? Oh god, see, these guys are assholes. You always want to keep your distance there, because their stupid cannonballs have deceptive range. Like, you swear you're far enough to not get hit by them, and you get hit by them anyway. Oh boy, what am I doing? Okay, it's fine. Everything's fine. Outside of potions, you get food rooms. In this area, you're guaranteed a food room. You get 2 different doors. If you notice the doors here, they have little icons. There's 2 doors with the coin, and one of them will have a food room. It has this guy. You pay X amount of money to get food to help you live. That's a way to heal yourself without having to use a flask charge. I'm not really explaining too much about these enemy patterns. You can kind of, you play as you go and you get used to them. If I explained any earlier, that just happened to be by coincidence. Alright, obviously as you go, these little things, the little buttons with the down arrows, those are your teleport points. So anytime you get to one, you can teleport to any other area that you have that. I do see there's a scroll of power up here, so we're going to go for that scroll. Most of the time, unless it's like a crazy circumstance or whatever, we're going to try to go get all the scrolls in each level. Okay, we got him. We got pie. Nice. And turkey. Look at this. This game's being super generous with food. I don't even need the food room. They gave me pie and turkey just from killing people. So, sometimes it pays off to kill people. You know, it is what it is. Oh god. Okay. We don't want any of that. Moving on. Hey zombie, you want to drop a cross-o-matic for me? That'd be great. No? Fuck you. Really want that cross-o-matic, but the game ain't gonna give it to me clearly. It is what it is. Use the door. Cool. Alright, so you get 2 keys for this area and you're basically out of here. The layout is pretty similar each time you go to it. You can use the second key to go to a bonus area that's much harder, or you can go on the main path. The bonus area is the Forgotten Sepulchre. If I pronounce that wrong, I don't really care, because, it is what it is. Which is through this door here. The door looks like this. It's mostly like orange, but it looks like there's a gate on top of it. I know I'm describing this really badly, but you can see the picture and kind of see what I'm talking about. That's if you want to go the bonus way. If you don't, you just keep going the straight path, and you will end up in the clock tower. Not the clock room, the clock tower. The clock room is where the second boss is. There's only 3 bosses in this game if you go the main path. There's 3 bosses in a run period, I think. The only one that would ever change is the first one, depending on the path that you go. If later path changes that, then so be it. But that's the way it is right now. We keep getting purple. We're getting less and less HP out of it, but it's fine. Tactics, unfortunately, I think I mentioned earlier, it does get you the least amount of HP if you're solely choosing that stat for the most part. But I do prefer keeping people at a distance and wrecking their face. So I'm okay with the taking the risk of not having as much HP. Alright, so up there on the map I can see there's gold. That means there's a free item there and or a... well, not and or. It's going to be a free item in a chest like this. Or it's going to be... That's going to be worse than what I have, so... Fuck it. It's going to be an item, a free item, or it will be a cursed chest. Alright, so here, I can't pick purple, and survival actually does not give me the most HP, so we're going to go with vitality. Those things are assholes. They're probably responsible for my most deaths in the game, especially if there's a tight area. They literally only exist. They're easy to kill. You just hit them with literally anything, they're dead. But their whole point is to make that noise. You want to listen for that audio cue. It's probably one of the more important audio cues you'll have in this entire game. We want to listen for that, because once you hear that, you want to be very aware, because one of those kamikaze bats is just going to fly right by you, and they blow up on contact. Your smash attack is good. You do down and jump, and you smash the floor. It will stun an enemy from high enough. It's very good for approaching enemies. Like, for example, this pirate here, we're going to drop him like that, give him a few throwing knives, have him bleed, and he's dead. If you're playing, you know, take no prisoners and all that, you want as many of these things to synergize with one another as possible. There's not really a whole lot of that going on, except for the fact that my sinew slicer and throwing knife are two different means of bleeding damage. So we're kind of doing a lot of damage over time, and hoping for the best with that. It's pretty much the best thing we have going on right now. This is actually going surprisingly well, all considered. And I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to beat this, because I probably won't. I really don't know. But if I don't, it's really not about that. I'm not necessarily trying to beat the game. I'm just trying to kind of explain things and like the mentality of playing. So looking at this real quick, going back to this whole option here. We're going to put in our cells, because why not? Always spend your cells. You have the option to not spend your cells, and supposedly if you go to this door, he says, oh, you can't go unless all your cells are spent. That's bullshit. You can kill the door, and you can go through anyway. That'll come in handy if you want to spend stuff on the collector as opposed to... Wait, this guy's the collector. So I was right. The other guy's the blacksmith. This guy's the collector. So if you want to not spend on the collector and spend on the blacksmith instead, what you actually want to do is a little bit of getting good and making it all the way to bosses without spending cells, and then just spend them all on the blacksmith. Or you could divide it. It's really up to you. I actually forgot I had the infantry bow unlocked. So, whoops. That actually would have... when you first unlock them here, you get to try it out right away. So that's kind of neat. Health Flask 3. We want to unlock 7 more items for that. We're already working on 1. The next one's probably going to be the infantry bow. Again, these are going to be personal preference. But when you bring them a blueprint, you have it. But it doesn't enter your item pool until you pay enough cells to unlock it. So, for example, this infantry bow will go into my tactics pool, my bow pool. If you notice, there's 3 options for random starter bow, random starter shield, random melee weapon. This is how you start to influence your item pool. You're always going to start with the same shitty items unless you get these. So you want to get these as early as possible. They're probably second priority next to your health flasks, but I can't get them right now, so we're going towards each of these. Random starter bow is going to allow me to, well, if I add the infantry bow to my pool as well this run by some chance, that means I'll get it. And really, I'll get mostly just that. So we're going to press Y here to show everything. So ranged weapons. These are all the different things I can get. You start with these. Like, whether you like them or not, they're part of the initial starting pool. It is what it is. There's not much you can really do. But these are things I can get, and the infantry bow will join that pool. You have melee weapons. So that can enter the melee pool. And then you have shields. I personally don't use shields. The only one I care about at all for the sake of speed is this one right here, the assault shield. These are the ones you get in your starting pool. Again, you go to melee weapons. These are the 3 weapons you get in your starting pool. Nutcracker's pretty shit. It's kind of slow. It's powerful, but it's kind of slow. I don't really recommend it. These are the traps you start with. They're both pretty nice for their own reasons, but I want to add the cross-o-matic to it, which you will get simply by playing the game and killing stuff. Oh, this guy works for the blacksmith. Okay, cool. So this guy, when you find him, he allows you to reroll stats. So if you don't like some of the affixes on any given weapon, you can pay some money and reroll it. We're going to plus this since it's kind of all we have. So now shots are going to pierce the first target. That's kind of good. Let's see. Generates a shield when used. Cannot be sold. I can upgrade this. Let's upgrade this since we're still stuck with our starting bow. The stats still aren't great, but that's fine. Victim of bleeding spreads it to other enemies nearby. I'm not going to mess with this too much because really there's no reason to. I can easily get better items at this point. I didn't use a potion, so we can keep going. Where we're going is the main path. If you're trying to go for a run clear, there's pretty much next to no reason not to go the main path. As you keep going, you'll of course run into different enemies that do different things and really just legitimately try to fuck you over. We haven't fought any elites outside of the one that we were required to earlier, which is kind of disappointing. Because if you find elites within reason, you want to fight them pretty much every time. And the reason being for that is when you fight elites, unless it's like the very first level, unless you're on a hard difficulty, that is. But if you find an elite, you want to kill them, if possible. The reason you want to kill them is because 9 times out of 10 they'll give you an amulet. And amulets, a lot of times, do, hey, there's an elite right there, so I can show you what I'm talking about. There we go. I'm gonna hit this guy. Or keep trying to hit him, whatever. It's almost dead. Put another trap down. When they get to like below 50%, they'll start teleporting around. So if you try to run away from them, it's not going to do a whole lot. So you might as well just suck it up and fight them. Hey, they gave me a... Wow, okay. So they gave me an amulet, showing off what I said before. Gives you damage reduction. Sometimes they give you scroll bonuses as well. So those are basically, as long as I'm wearing it, I get a free bonus to my purple, which is tactics, and a free bonus to survival, which is green. So I'm going to take that, because it's better than my nothing that you start with. And we have a gold sinew slicer, so a gold version of what we're already using. So that's a no-brainer. We're going to take that. Yeah, so right now we're running with the starter bow, a gold throwing knife, and starter bow, gold throwing knife, and really gold everything except for the starter bow. If I can replace this bow and get like an ice bow or a frost blast, like something that freezes, we're going to be pretty set. I don't know if it's necessarily set to win on literally the first go on a brand new file, but I'll certainly take it if the game wants to help me out in that department. So, RNG gods, I am calling out to you. Help me with this run. Help me do my very first run on a brand new file. That would be pretty freaking sweet. Get out of here. Alright, so Clock Tower is an annoying area. You got enemies that don't hesitate to do, well, what I talk about in my max attack videos, which is rushing people in the face and seeing what happens. Of course, what happens with them is they definitely wreck your face, so... I'm a little more risky than you need to be, realistically, with traps. Because I know, like, the movements, the patterns, and whatnot. But generally speaking, you can lay traps and then just kind of leave and watch them die. It's kind of the glory of using tactics versus anything else. Get up here. Alright, so this is probably, when you run into these guys in the clock tower, this is probably the easiest area. This is where you kind of get a break because these guys aren't hard. whereas everything else kind of goes aggro with one thing or another. The Bombardiers, they go aggro with their grenades. We're not taking that chance. Fuck that. They go aggro with their grenades. The sword guys go aggro and rush you in the face with their swords. And then the dark trackers, if you try to ignore them, the dark trackers are the smaller enemies with swords. If you try to avoid them, just like an elite at below 50%, if not earlier, because sometimes they do that, they will chase you. They will teleport after you until you either kill them or they kill themselves. So you might as well just deal with them. Outside of the fact that they teleport, it's more of an intimidation tool because their attack is not very good. It takes time to wind up, and then you get, of course, the exclamation point to tell you when to dodge, just like with everybody else. We got a little greedy there, but we were able to tell that that guy was going to sword me, so it didn't work out probably the way he wanted, which is fine, because I don't really give a shit what the computer wants. Alright, Clockmaker key. So that's the key you need to leave this area. We clearly have not gotten it yet. I just pulled a Corey, so if you're watching this, enjoy that, because now I fucking did it. Alright. Where are we going? Where are we going? Where are we going? What are we doing? So, that's another thing you don't want to do, you know. Something you might want to do from time to time so you avoid silly mistakes like that is use the right stick to look down. Look a little further down than the camera angle that the game gives you. Sometimes comes in handy if you're trying to be a little more careful. I can't go that way. Okay. Alright, so right now we're doing the Metroidvania thing, you know, checking the map and seeing where we have to backtrack to, or areas that we haven't been to, you know, map completion. So the Metroidvania aspect of the game, that's where that lies. The Souls aspect of this game is it's punishing and you're going to die a lot. It's a great indie game. I really enjoyed this game. I've been spending a lot of time with it. I got my good friend Corey into it as well. He's been playing it a lot. He's in the process of trying to beat one cell. He's done a few regular clears. I think with the right mindset, he will be able to do one cell. We are working on it. I've been trying to teach him some stuff. Alright, so what do we got up there? Probably nothing I want. Nope. I'm picky with items, mostly because I know what they do and what I'm realistically looking for. Alright, so scroll. Purple. Still taking purple. Really just no reason to not go purple. Now I can't go purple, so we go HP. It's real simple. Real simple. Simple stuff. Oh, we're taking hits we really don't need to there. These guys bleed to death. Really wish I had a frozen bow or an ice bow or whatever. Frost blast, one of the two. Something that freezes. Anything that freezes in this game is very, very valuable. Freezing and traps are, like, crazy good. If you get them at any point in the game, it's probably something you want to gravitate towards. What do we got for free? Hey, speaking of which, alright, now we're ditching our bow. Finally, now we're not using starting items for anything anymore. So, Frost Blast. We got some DPS as long as we've, it's the first hit and they're not frozen. They'll take that damage upon freezing them. So it's freezing and doing damage. 50% damage when you're at max HP. So if you have full health and don't get hit, you do more damage. Slowdown after thaw 4 times longer. So after they get out of the freezing, they will still be slow afterwards, which is pretty nice. Anything that makes your frozen that much more annoying is something you probably want to stick with. So, we got a pretty decent setup. Considering this is my first run on a brand new file, I mean, provided part of it is, you know, the RNG gods being very, very fucking generous. We're going the wrong way again. I just did that again. You see? Look at that. See? This is what happens when you don't fucking pay attention. Alright, so, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? Where do we have to go? Down there. Any item you get and replace with something else, you want to sell it. But there's a mutator that allows you to do that, and we don't have it yet. So, well, not a mutator, a general upgrade. We don't have that yet. I think it's recycling. Sounds right, recycling. But we don't have it yet. Until we unlock it, we can't do that. But once you get to that point, definitely want to recycle for the sake of getting money for the things that you're not going to use anyway. And you'll always see if you leave something behind on the map because it'll show up here. Is that another elite room? Yeah, it is. Alright, game. Short work of that guy. When you kill the elite, the surrounding enemies that it brought out also dies, so that's nice. We do get purple, but we don't get green, which means I'm going to get less HP from this, which means I don't want it. Amulets also, they tend to sell for a lot of money. Especially as you move up in difficulty. So that's more the reason you want to have that upgrade as soon as possible. But I would prioritize the health flask and the random melee, ranged, and shield things first, for the sake of having more control of your runs. So at this point, we have 4 brutality, 6 survival, and 16 tactics. 16. Pretty great. I might give a tour of this whole game. That might be what happens here. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I don't know. Feeling pretty good right now. It's a nice thing to be doing before I have to stream, because, what time is it? This is a side note, the 5:03. Okay, I stream at 6, so we got time. We got time. I felt in a creative mode, I wanted to do something to kind of, like, help people, but also get myself prepped for streaming later. So, here's where this video came from. Sometimes the random stuff works out the best, you know? I am, not doing so good right now. Fuck you. I'm getting a little too excited, but, you know, it's fine. Alright, all these suck. Fuck them. I honestly maybe should take something instead of the throwing knife, but I don't know. It's gold. I'm kind of attached to it. And I like this stacked bleeding damage going on. It's working itself out. I might get tempted with something later on, but I'll cross that bridge even when I get there. There's pie here, but honestly I don't need to get it. We're on no cell difficulty, which means each in-between area is going to give me something. Was that a curse chest? Is that why I skipped it? Yeah, it is. Okay. What's that? Oh, yeah, the shop. Didn't have anything for me. Alright, we already got the clockmaker key. There is one other lock to get, one other locked door that you can get through. It's the bell tower key, and it leads to a shield that I don't even know what it is. But I still don't know how to get there, so don't ask. Clock room. This is actually second boss now at this point. This is going to be a longer video than I anticipated, but hopefully it gives some helpful information. Alright, so we have 49 cells. We're going to get that starter bow. That's good. And now, actually, I was talking about replacing items. I'm going to do that right now. Because I'm getting that infantry bow. It's unlocked in the pool. But when you do that, you get one right away. So, by throwing knife, as attached as we are to it, or as attached as we were to it, we're not going to keep it. Fuck it. So, infantry bow gets a critical hit when you are close to somebody. So, in a way, it's kind of the opposite of what you realistically want out of a bow. Because normally you use bows just to be at a distance. So, you kind of think, why do that? But getting criticals and hearing the tink noise that goes with it is satisfying as hell. And that's why we use this. So now that we have items that we're a little more comfortable with, or at least comfortable enough to work with, because fuck it, we're just doing things on the fly here. So, we have enough to where I've got a lot of money. So I'm going to upgrade this bow. I'm going to plus it. Makes it better. 50% damage to a poison target. I don't have anything in poison targets, so I really don't care about that. We're going to use that with the Frost Blast as well. We're going to upgrade it. 30% damage to a bleeding target. Actually, I provide bleeding with the Sinnoh Slicer. So you know what? We are going to keep that. Victims emit a toxic cloud, so when you kill them, they put out toxic. Upon thawing, they suffer from bleeding. So that's plenty of bleeding stacking there. So remember I was talking about synergizing with what you have? That's what we're doing. So we'll leave that the way it is. Seems pretty good. This has the ability to have victims be toxic. So that actually will come in handy. Synergizes with that. I might change it still, though, to something else, because I think there's better mods to be put on it. Real quick on the DPS, your base damage is 955. The crit hits are the 2675. I couldn't deny raw damage. That's why we took that as opposed to the throwing knife that we've been using. The mods on this don't tend to be that great, and one of the better ones is Generate a Shield when used. You'll get used to these as you kind of go through the different items and know what can be on them. The good thing about re-rolling gold items is they cost significantly less than your regular ones, so it makes it easier to keep rolling for what you want. I'm going to change this one. I really think I can get better stuff out of it. Ammo plus 3 and crit hits do 20% more damage. Well, I will keep that. This also generates a shield when used. So, and damage to a poison target. We have that toxic cloud thing. Pierce first target. You know what? I'm honestly going to keep this stuff where it's at. I really don't have too many complaints. Like, we could ask for better synergy, like more things that do additional damage when I freeze enemies, which is normally the route I prefer. But with right now what we have going on with the bleeding, just the stacked bleeding damage, I think we're good enough, honestly. And if we're not, fuck it. You know, this is... This is all extra credit as far as I'm concerned. I did not expect to do all this on my starting run on a new file. I am so glad I took the ammo perk, on top of the fact that I re-rolled to get more ammo, because it is really helping out with this infantry bow. We can see we're putting out that damage. This is why we like crits. Tink-tinks. Crits, aka tink-tinks. Hearing that noise is so satisfying. Freeze them. Cast more bleeding. We kind of sucked in the dodge department there, but we're doing so great that I don't want to kill her. I might want to get greedy here, but he's dead, so it's fine. Alright. That could have been bad. Hey, he dropped an ice shard. How nice of you. Wonder if he drops that every time. I'm not sure. Oh, see, now we have another decision to make, because those twin daggers do a lot of damage. I think we're taking them. Yeah, we're taking them. That's better than the infantry bow. So, this thing I was just talking about, fuck it. We're not using it anymore. Yeah, I really can't deny that damage. I can't. Really can't. The good thing about the gold items is sometimes they can give you additional scrolls just for holding the item as well, just like the amulets do. Between the fire grenade and the amulet, we have 45% damage reduction. I know it says damage received. I call it damage reduction because it's negative 20. So the damage received that you receive is less. So 45%. That's actually pretty damn good for pulling a new run on a new file out of my ass. So everything considered, I really have very little complaints about this run. It's pretty great. So we have 32 cells. We don't want to put them to waste. We want to use them on something. I'm not going to pump this guy because we still are in the process of unlocking items. We just got this. I do like the extra crit damage. I'm not going to reroll anything, honestly. I don't need it. Alright, so let's go towards something else. Gold reserves. This is good for the sake of keeping money after you die. Literally says that in the description there, but I figure I explain it anyway. Recycling 1 is that whole selling items thing I was talking about. So actually, I really don't know if I want to go for that or if I want to go for gold reserves. Let's be positive. In the case we're going to beat this, let's go for gold reserves, which we should unlock just before beating it, which will let me keep 6K of my money. I'm only willing to spend on so much at this point. So I don't think I'll have to redo these either. You can reset your mutations and pick a different 3 if you fuck up somewhere along the way, but honestly, I think we're going to stick these 3 out throughout the entirety of this run. We have almost 5k HP. We have a semi-decent synergy build. Like, not everything synergizes off of each other, but it honestly kind of does. I'm kind of underestimating that. It's just because I'm so very used to doing so much with freezing that I'm kind of looking at this like it's nothing, but the more I look at it, it's actually pretty fucking great. So this is the last area of the game. You can easily lose a run here. Every enemy has stuff that you really just want to, you know, look before you leap type of deal. Right, okay, so this thing I'm rubbing here, this is a teleport. You need a teleport rune in order to be able to use this. We don't have that yet. We don't even have runes. We're about to beat this with, like, no runes. I'm just going to shut up about that. So, it happens or it doesn't. It's whatever. So, alright, let's kill this guy. Oh, God. That was almost bad. Oh, look at me. Alright, so, as you can see, this area can get pretty serious pretty quickly. We need to start getting serious about this if we actually do want to beat it. That damage, though. We're getting a little greedy by killing these guys. Thing is, if you don't need the fight, you don't have to. Just don't. You know, it's like I said, the game kind of encourages speed running anyway. So, if you don't have to fight to avoid some hits, it's the better route to go. Plus, with freezing weapons, all you need to do is kind of stick them in place. Right, I don't have runes. Stick them in place and just run the fuck away. But I got pretty good damage too, so I'm not really super worried about it. Of course, I say this as I take all the hits all the time. That's not good. You don't want to get caught by that ever. We took a big risk there. We rolled a lot. Getting a little too excited about this run right now. You don't want to attack that guy from behind, or else that happens. So don't do that. Now, you might have noticed a pop-up on the screen. It said blah 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 malaise infection. So, when you get malaise, it fills that little orange bar. There's 2 bars currently above my health. If that fills all the way, it will do a bunch of damage to you very quickly and or kill you. So, basically, don't get malaise. You don't have to worry about malaise outside of, like, certain enemies towards the end of this game. So, like, in this area. But it is something to keep in mind. It's the game slowly introducing you to that. Because in the harder difficulties, it's something you have to worry about more often. We're taking this a little slower, because these guys can wreck you pretty quickly. So the whole thing with this area is you go to places like this. I usually go back out the way I came from, so I can have a good pulse of where I am on the map. But, you only need... There's 3 areas like this one. They're different colored doors. What you do is you get 2 keys from 2 of those rooms. Oh, I didn't mention. So, hold on. Give me a second. The last area I went to, the clock tower, usually there's 5 scrolls. Make sure you get those. And the area before it's the Stilt Village, there's 4 scrolls. There is no time door in the clock tower. There is a time door in the Stilt Village. So it's 4 scrolls plus the time door if you get it. In here, there are 3 scrolls plus 1 if you get all 3 keys. Which we're going to try to do for the sake of showing that off here. I honestly should have went with health, but fuck it. I guess I'll do that for another one. There's 3 scrolls plus the 4th if you decide to get all 3 keys. You only need 2 to beat the area. So if things get like too dangerous, you can just decide, hey, I'm only going to go for 2 keys, and then I'm going to find the exit. But if you get the 3rd key, you unlock an area that gets you access to an additional scroll. You get access to 2 additional free items, and also a blueprint that has, I believe, the boomerang, which I've never used and/or are going to put in my pool. But just to give you guys an idea of what is there. When you get to this point of the game, there are shops in this map. This is your last opportunity to be able to get something good if you don't have it already. So basically, if you haven't used your money at this point, there's little reason to not use your money. We're kind of getting skip happy at this point because I am getting closer to stream time and I want to make sure I'm good to go. So as you can see, when you get freezing, things get a lot easier. So you have a cycle. Freeze, lay down traps and or bombs, and then attack. That's your cycle. To shield. I'd love to sell this, but I currently can't. So, moving on. That third hit, it does so much damage, though. I forgot I skipped, like, all these guys. Even though I literally just did it, I forgot. Short-term memory. Hurts. Alright, kill these guys. Great. Alright, so we got 2 keys, so we could leave here if we wanted to, but fuck it, we're going to go for the third. Since one cell mode allows you to refill your flasks, fuck it, I'm going to use one just to be safe. So we don't fuck this up after getting this far. Alright, where do we have to go? We're gonna visit the whole map, fuck it. We're feeling a bit ambitious, I think we can do it. So that's 2 scrolls out of 3 potential scrolls. Or 4 if you get that door. We're going to get more HP, because we have less health flasks to use. Hey, there's another one right there. We're going to get more HP. In fact, this one's going to force me to go HP. Doesn't matter what we pick here, we get HP, same amount of HP either way, so it's fine. Alright, so these guys you've seen already. The freaking Inquisitors, the ones with the purple beams. They're annoying because they can shoot you, like, basically off screen. They're annoying. The guys with the spears, they're annoying because they have stupid range and they can fuck you easily. And then these guys with the big sword, they're slow, but they'll use that tornado move, and if you get caught in it, you're going to have a bad time. So, pretty much every enemy in here, you want to avoid for one reason or another. The guy with the sickle, or the scythe, or whatever, he's pretty deadly too, because he can do a scorpion get over here attack. And if he does that, you do get a little bit of time to avoid him before he follows up and attacks you. But if you don't do that, you're going to be in a world of pain. So, the game kind of puts some pressure on you, because the hardest area of the game has, honestly, enemies that are way more difficult than the majority of what you run into. Mostly. Like, you definitely pay for taking damage, but the thing about this game is it's all throughout it. Oh shit, oh shit. That could have been bad. Luckily it wasn't. The whole game kind of teaches you, you know, don't take hits here, don't take hits there, and the last level is definitely a good test of that. But yeah, those spears are annoying. They have deceptive range. Or, not deceptive, like, you can see the range pretty clearly, but they hit pretty far, as you can see, and they can also hit above or below them, so it's kind of annoying. So we have our 3 keys, so honestly, and we have 3 scrolls. So honestly, we're just trying to find the quickest way out. If we have bad luck, we're going to basically go everywhere in the map before we find that, but hopefully not. That's what I was talking about with the get over here thing, where we dodged it on time, so we're good. I definitely froze him, so I don't understand why he's doing what he's doing right now. That's really kind of bullshit. I might need to use another, oh god. I got pie. I don't know where it is. Oh, it's over there. Give me that. Give me that pie. We're getting a little risky here. If we really want to clear this, we need to stop dicking around. Oh boy. Okay. Yep. So, everything's been going pretty well up until this point, so you get to see a little danger now. I would hope so with the final area of the game. Okay, we can't go up there because we don't have runes to do so. Eventually you get a spider rune and you can do stuff like that, but we don't have it yet, so fuck it. Going a different way. In order to go the paths required, you don't need all the runes, but there are a lot of paths extra pads you'll miss out on if you don't have the proper runes. So, gives you incentive to go the places you need to go. One of the better tips I can give, in all honesty, is to, because there's so much shit in this game, and like different items you can add to your item pool and so on and so forth, is to definitely, for sure, look up the Dead Cells Wiki and find out what weapons you like, which ones you don't. And if you go on the Wiki, you're just going to read about it and not know what they do. Knowing what they do, of course, will come with play experience. But kind of just to, you know, at least get some sort of an idea of what you're going to do. I'm really not using my daggers enough considering how much damage they do. Let's change that. Get rid of that riprap right there. The daggers crit is the third hit, you get big damage. Big boy damage. Or big girl damage. Because girls play games too. We don't discriminate here. Get fucked! Yeah, I apologize. At this point, I'm trying to give hints where I can, but I'm also trying to not screw this up. Because I do think we have a decent shot at this. This could be just a tour of everything. Now, of course, dependent on skill level, which is in really any game ever, you're going to get, you know, close to this or not close to this, but it all comes with experience. It all comes with experience. You play enough, you get the boss patterns down, the enemy patterns down, so on and so forth, and you just got to keep pushing forward. As long as you don't give up, the game's very possible. It was right at the beginning the whole time. Of course it was. Alright, so items I probably don't want. Nope. And a free scroll, like we were talking about earlier. Do we go more for purple or more for HP? I think we're going to go HP because we have enough purple for one cell or no cell. I keep saying one cell, but it's no cell. We have no cells yet. We might get one cell, or not. Let's not say we might. We are going to get one cell this time around. So, on our very first run, because that's how we roll here. Alright, let's see what we can do. We'll get gold reserves, like we talked about before. And we'll get recycling. And put the rest into random starter shield, because why not? There we go. Perfect. Let's refill our potions and get this show on the road. So 42 minutes is honestly a bit longer, especially a bit longer than I usually spend on a run, especially for no cell. But I also don't have this huge item pool with the stuff I want. And you want to limit it to only the good stuff, right? To try to have as much control over your runs as possible. But, yeah. That's simply not where we're at the time being. Before the time being. I can talk, I swear. Oh, so we're already down to a third of health. Oh, I totally missed with that. That was great. Oh! Nope. No, no, no. Bad. All this bad. So, he likes to be an asshole. If you notice, there's spikes there. And from time to time, he likes to be an ass and charge into you and try to put you in those spikes. You just tell him no thanks. You also don't want those banners to happen, because if they do, you're going to have a bad time. Good, good. I like this. This is going well. That's not going so well. Okay. Can you like die and stuff? That'd be great. Fuck it. That might have been premature, but I'm doing it anyway. Yep, you do that twice now, I understand. Yep. Oh boy, I almost put myself in the spikes. It's getting a little scary for me. Whew! I was able to keep myself up in the air long enough to avoid that. No. Bad. Bad king. Bad king. This is intense. This is intense. Bam! He's dead. Alright, so, that's a tour of the game. That's a fucking tour of the game. So, if you don't want to see the ending, and there's not really much to show for the ending, so... But I'm just kind of giving that warning. There's just spoiler alert, about to ruin the game. You get his weapon, but it's for shits and giggles because you can't do anything with it right now. But if you don't want the final rune and or the ending, there's not much to it, honestly. But if you don't want that ruined for yourself, stop watching now. And you kind of already have an idea of what to do because I've been explaining it all throughout the video. If you guys liked what you saw, feel free to comment and, you know, make a discussion out of it. If there's anything you want me to do in particular, let me know. If you want me to continue runs like this on a brand new file, let me know. Pretty much anything you want, let me know, because I will do it. I am a sucker for the crowd like that. And one final warning, because we're about to ruin the ending here. All right. Like I said, there's not much to it. Basically, you do that, and that's where the story ends, and that's really it. Then you see the credits. Like so. So, as these credits roll, which you really have no reason to watch, because there's nothing after them, it's not a Marvel movie. And they do take a while, so it's no point. Well, okay, actually I lied, because the very first time you do it, you get this. Because this is the first rune. Or not the first rune, my bad. The last rune you would get if you got all the other ones before this. You turn into a slime. Technically, this is your head. This might look familiar because it's technically how you start the game. Which, the game doesn't end. It has an ending, you get credits, whatever, but technically it doesn't end. This is just going to loop me right back around to where I started before. And that's that. So if you ever want me to go more into skills, tips on particular things, just a mentality of playing through the run, I kind of try to do as much as possible in one video. I didn't really have a focus for this, but hopefully it gave just a demo of, you know, somewhere to start. Little more of an understanding of some of the things that you might be thinking about when playing this. Things to consider, you know, to not die and or put in your pool. I think I will continue this regardless, like the new file thing, to go along the lines of my particular mentality, but everyone's also going to be different because not everyone's going to run tactics. Some people will try to run brutality, some people will try to run survivability. And sticking to one entirely is almost impossible because the game will eventually say you can't pick whatever your preference is, so you'll end up with other stuff. But with all the stuff that I tried to cover all in one spot, there's still a lot that needs to be covered. Like the additional runes, which will really help with movement and getting to different areas and so on and so forth. But we'll get all into that next time. Until then, guys, thank you for listening. I hope you learned something. If not, maybe you learned something in the next one. Maybe there'll be something you can get from it. Maybe you knew all this already. Just let me know. Let me know what you guys think, and we will catch you guys the next time. Take care.